Welcome back, wanderers and storytellers. I am your host, Bettimus, and today's nightmare will be involving a few more characters in Betty's Lost Little Nightmares. You'll see me first start out with the refining and sketching more concepts for today's monster we'll call the Gardener. In the original sketch, this monster's limbs were a little more quote-unquote proportioned. I knew I wanted this monster's main feature to be its rotund belly and large sun hat, so I shortened his legs, but also gave him longer arms so he can reach for plants and pots lower to the ground, and perhaps snatch a kid or two while he's at it. Although he can reach low to the ground, his preferred method would be to use his shovel. His shovel also keeps him balanced, so it's a necessity when trying to chase down smaller prey. Speaking of which, Bettimus, November has made a new friend. We'll call him Trece, and his cat plush companion, Nightlight. Trece is the number 13 in Spanish, for you curious folk. Later I'll add another friend in this fragmented memory, since admittedly I wasn't sure where to include her just yet. November's wandering and continued attempts to find a way out has led her to the garden and into the greenhouse, where she finds this creature busy tending to the plants. The plants themselves snap and hiss and give off unnaturally luring aromas, all the while secreting excess amounts of strange nectar. November finds herself up on the shelf in a pot, hiding from the gardener, as she and her new friend Trece try to help out a third friend stuck in the pot. Don't worry, I'll add her in a bit. For the gardener, I wanted this round figure to be kept together with stitching and straw bursting from the seams. It's meant to give him a scarecrow appearance. His job is to tend to these freaky flowers to keep them fed, and they require more than just your average fertilizer. But as valuable as these plants are, the gardener still manages to go into a frenzy when he spots November and friends. He topples over pots and swings his shovel to try and catch the kids, turning over and smashing pots when the kids break line of sight. Okay, there we go. I finally figure out where to add the last of the trio. November calls her gnome friend Stray. Stray was stuck in the pot, so November and Trece went to rescue her. A gnome can only reach so far. Now, with the line art complete, it's time to tackle the shading and cross-hatching. The background I block out with a large brush, again on slightly lowered opacity. Then going back to clean up the spots where the large dark areas overlap the foreground. And the long process of shading all the pieces begins. This process alone took about 4, maybe 5 hours to complete. But I won't lie, I enjoy interacting with peeps while I draw during streams. So I tend to get distracted during sessions. Doesn't my bad. Regardless, it's a long process, and this time around, there was a little more detail to shade and textures to consider. The main ones being the texture to the leaves of the plants and the texture of the wooden shelves. This may sound silly, but I'm really happy with the way that pile of dirt turned out. The dirt at the gardener's foot. After some consideration, I figured the background was too plain and added a dripping effect. This effect is to mimic the goopy nectar the Venus flytraps are secreting at the top. With all the shading, I went back to highlight most of the stitching, so it's not lost on our gardener monster thing here. Finalizing with the logo, and we are done. Hopefully November, Trece, and Stray can get out of this mess together. Otherwise, who's going to be left to encounter the next monster in this nightmare? If you haven't already, like and subscribe, especially if you want to see more Little Nightmare inspired monsters and such. Thank you all for watching, and a special thanks to my Patreon supporter, Private Vintage. If you have that spare change and just don't know what to do with it, you too can become a Patreon supporter or leave a little one-time tip over on my Ko-fi site. All forms of support are greatly appreciated. Catch me live on Twitch on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Come join the public Discord to hang out with other awesome peeps. And all my other social medias, like always, are in the description. Stay safe and be kind to one another. Love you all, and until next time, wanderers, storytellers, and coffee lovers, stay cozy!